What it's up, YouTube? Tonight I am starting this stream off right, baby. I'm making myself a s'more. Let's go. Tell me why my wife's like, yeah, we have chocolate. We have chocolate. I'm like, bet we got chocolate. Let's go. I'm gonna make myself a little s'more. Also, this is the ghetto way of making s'mores. But I bought this whole bag of chocolate. Nah, I'm not gonna put her blast like that. But basically, there's one piece of chocolate left, and I thought we had multiple pieces, so I can make myself two s'mores. So I'm gonna do that right now while people join. I hope y'all are having a good night. We are gonna be talking about how to add or upgrade your factory backup camera. Oh, and also cooking some nice s'mores. This is a torch I use to heat shrink, but I also use it to cook s'mores. Can you see from the other camera? Oh, you can't see. One second. So I'm trying to melt the chocolate here. My marshmallow is completely black. My chocolate barely melted. I will take my mic off for this, though. I don't want to. Actually, I'm just going to mute it real quick while I eat this. This s'more looks good, baby. All right, YouTube, you didn't come to watch me eat, so let's get started with this. All right. So if you have an Acura from 2000 and I think 6 is really the year. I know the TL doesn't start there, but I want to say from 2006 up to 2020, I want to say. So if you have an Acura from 2006 to 2020 and you have a backup camera, you can upgrade it or replace it. Some like to fail. Some like to get really foggy. On the ILX, they get crazy foggy. Someone sells like a true plug and play replacement. Like it's like a factory camera, I would say. But for other cars, that's not available. On your older cars, 06 to 09, if it doesn't have a backup camera, you can add a backup camera. So like on your RL, they'll come with the navigation drive that can accept backup camera input, but they come with no backup camera. That's the same thing on your TSX. 06 to 08 TSX comes with the navigation drive that can accept a camera, but has no backup camera. Then the 2007 to 2013 MDX, the backup camera is terrible. It fails all the time, just looks super hazy, just does not look good. You can upgrade that camera, no problem. When you get to the 2000 and what has multi-view? So I want to say when you get 2011, 2010, you start running into Acuras that have multi-view cameras. Multi-view changes the lens view of the camera when you rotate the center wheel of the navigation. So when you're in reverse and you turn that wheel, the camera image will change. There aren't many cameras that have a multi-angle view like that. And the ones that are available, usually don't work with the factory monitor. So if you want the multi-angle view to stay when you change cameras, you need to get an OEM one. If you don't care about that multi-view, you can upgrade the backup camera with the stuff I'm going to show you. The harnesses and the cameras are all plug and play. We make them specific for the Acura that you have. It all plugs in the trunk most of the time, so it's relatively easy install. The last part to all of this is that we also have backup camera retention harnesses, which allow you to keep the backup camera, the factory backup camera, when you're going to install aftermarket radios or aftermarket screens. So I have some orders to do. I'm going to show you each one and what the people are upgrading and if they're losing any functionality like that multi-view. So let me jump onto the desk and grab some of the parts that I need for some of the orders. Just give me 1 sec. What's up, Spark? That's for you. That's for you. This one's for me. Oh, that's the amplifier bypass. We are not doing that right now. Where are these? Oh, it's an eBay order. That's not what we want to do right now. Is I think Glenn is. Okay, perfect. So camera adapter. All right. I got a big box of stuff right here. I'm just moving some stuff out of the way. Give me a couple of seconds. All right. So back to the camera stuff. So the misconception is that if you buy just a camera, you can adapt the camera to the factory screen. Excuse me. Man. Okay. All right. So the misconception is that if you buy just any camera, you can adapt it to the factory screen. That is kind of true and not true. So if you are willing to cut or tap wires, you can feed this camera's video into the OEM screen without buying anything from us. You just need to identify which wires are the video signal into the factory navigation at the trunk and then power this camera. What you need to be careful if you're going to do that is that your camera has the right format. So a lot of cameras are coming now with something called video format called AHD, but your screen needs CVVS or NTSC to show up correctly. On the Acura MDX video we did about upgrading the backup camera, you can see exactly what happens when you use the wrong video format or the wrong camera. So if you order just a camera, it may or may not work and you're going to have to wiretap. One of our customers recently saw that we sell the cameras, figured that he could order just a camera and he could make it plug and play into his car. That's not the case. You're going to need to pair the camera with one of the harnesses specific to your car. And that's what I have here in front of me. So those harnesses are going to look like this. They have this small white connectors for 2010 to 13 MDX. Small white connector, RCA, power plug, and then a ground loop that needs to get connected to ground. And these are going to match the connections for the camera. So the camera is going to have an RCA and the matching barrel plugs. So the camera will have, here, let me switch. Let me show you here. The camera will have this connector and this connector, and then you'll just connect this to ground, and then this hooks into the factory connection. This hooks into the camera, this little small adapter here. And that's how all this works. This is what these connectors right here is what allows to make your camera install plug and play. So we're going to make one for this customer, and I'll show you what he's going to be upgrading real quick. Let me just get the parts that I need. I was able to figure all this out because I bought a bunch of factory backup cameras and did not stop until I made them work. I assume this right here, you see these loose wires? That's there from the factory. I assume those are test wires. But by reading diagrams, experimenting with stuff, I was able to get these cameras to display and able to replace them with the cameras we sell. These are usually the two connectors. It'd either be like this. It's not going to focus up because it's white. So let me show you here. It's either like this. This is a single row connector. It's hard to see because it's white. Or like this, where it's a dual row connector. And they could be male or female. So on the TSX, they are female on some. So you see, this is the female. This is the matching end to this one. But basically, we have all the connectors. We did all the research. I know how to make it work with your Acura to make sure that the camera video format shows up, and so that we have the correct video format and that the camera shows up correctly. So he has an 09 MDX, which means he has the skinny connector that we find here. And then we're going to take the barrel plug from right here. So now I'm going to make one of these for you right now, right in front of you, so you can see what it takes and how it all connects. No, on your DMX 9708S, they'll auto program. So, oh, I grabbed way too many components. All right, one step at a time, one step at a time. We need to find the master for this one. Plus 10. It's right here. Oh, that's the connector. No, it's right here. Oh, that's male. Here we go. Nope. Didn't I just see this? Sorry, guys. One sec. Bear with me here. I did see it, but it's for a different car. Where's the one for this car? Really, broski? Oh, you know what? It's on this side. Yeah. I'm about to lose this whole box. Sorry, guys. I have masters of everything to make my life a lot easier, so I don't have to remember the pinouts. So like these are my masters, and then I have another master for another one. So this is the standard one. That's the MDX 07 to 09. And then we can start making our harness. So first we got to cut this plug down. Would you say? Have you ever upgraded the navigation screen to a better or higher resolution? No. It is possible, but not worth it. So I've taken an entire navigation screen apart before, and it has old school tubes and old school technology. The video also fed into the screen is RGBS video. If I was an electrical engineer with a huge background in video, I could make it happen. But I don't think anyone who would do it to try to sell it would do it, because it's just, I don't think there's enough of a market for it, for like just an updated screen. But it is possible if you are very good with video. You just need a couple video converters and you should be able to do it no problem. All right, so right now we're preparing our little wires here to add solder and then terminate them. The reason why we're going to add solder is because they're very thin wires. Like, look how thin those wires are. And that's just because the gauge of wire that's there from the factory, like the connector is only so big. It can only take wire that's so big. So this is the maximum size matching wire that can fit into that connector. And that's why I use solder to strengthen it, because it doesn't have many strands, and since it doesn't have many strands, it's very easy to rip out or damage. So the solder helps strengthen it, and it stops it from you ripping it out. All right, cool. So that's all set there. Let's get our solder, which is right here. And then we're going to hit each one of these with a little bit of solder, like I said. Help re-embrace these tiny little strands of copper. All right, cool. So with that done, now we're going to terminate each one of these. This took a lot of time to figure out. But I'm happy we did, because a lot of people want an upgraded backup camera, and this allows you to do so, and it makes the installation rather simple and not annoying to complete. So that's terminated. We're going to do red next. Yeah, no, man. You could get yourself a nice 9-inch Android screen with the new version that's out, and then get yourself an HD screen. I wonder if there's a 1920 by 1080 screen. There probably is. We'll look right after I finish this. So you can watch HD content. You do what I did in high school: mount a projector to the roof of your car and then project stuff onto buildings. I thought about adding a actual screen to the roof, not the roof, the freaking hood, and making it like a cool, like, portable movie theater type thing, but it didn't work out. And then we got kicked out of AutoZone for trying to watch a movie against their wall. But all right, so now all of these are terminated. We're going to put them into our connector. For that, we're going to follow our master. So our far right is power. Then our far left is our, I forget what it's called, but it's like a check to let you know that there is a, I think it's something adaptive or something like that. It's what it's called in the manual. And then my 2 video signals. So these will match right up. Then we just need to slide them in, because they do have a little bit of pushback. And I'm just going to take my little tool right here and just slide it in. I got to be careful where I press to make sure that I don't damage any of the wires. And I don't know if you heard that. There's a little click. Okay. This one's always tough to get in because it's thicker. Oh, man. We just need to make sure that it makes it all the way down. I think it has, but I can't be 100% certain. So let's just try pushing it again. Okay. Now we are going to check the front of it with our pin tool. Where the hell are they? Here we go. Okay, that's not the one I want. Okay, here are the ones I want. All that's going to do is just push in there, make sure that something can go in there without issue. That one's giving me a little trouble though. Why is that compared to the other one? Okay. All right, so there goes our connector. Now we're going to add some zip ties, help strengthen it. These are very easy to break. Unfortunately, it's just a matter with the wires of how small they are, so you do have to be careful when installing. You don't want to rip one of these. And then on the factory radio, you want to make sure you connect this loop to ground. If you don't connect it to a good ground, you won't get any image on the factory screen. So you need to make sure you connect it to a solid ground. All right, now we're going to add one more zip tie right around the resistor. All right, baby. Oh, come on. Can you post a link to the harness just in case you change your mind about the OEM camera? Sure. Give me one sec. All right, guys. So now when this customer goes to install this, he's going to take his camera out of his packaging, connect this 4-pin connector to the camera, then connect these connectors here to the harness we just made, and then this needs to go to ground. He can either drill a hole or use an existing bolt somewhere to connect it to ground. The factory camera is going to share this same connection, so let me grab a factory camera. So the factory camera is going to share this same connection. Here's a factory camera. You're going to disconnect the factory camera. You're going to push the trigger down, pull back. Then you're going to plug in this camera, and then you're all set to go. You just have to snake the wire and install the camera where it goes. This camera comes with multiple mounts. So he's doing it on an MDX. So I assume he's going to use this mount, which is the clear license plate light housing. To transfer in between different mounts, there's 2 screws on the back of the camera. They're right here. And then they can screw into here or the universal mount. So there are multiple mounting options. It's always up to the customer. Some people like it dead in the center. So if you want it dead in the center, you need to use this license plate bracket mount. But if you're fine with it off to a little to the edge looking more OEM, you can use this. Or if you have like a specific goal you're trying to reach, there is a universal butterfly one, which is very small to help you mount it exactly where you want to mount it. Hold on, I'm missing. There's this little piece of foam that goes with this, and I can't seem to find it. Oh, here it is. Okay. This just helps seal from water getting in, splashing up and getting in. All right, so this would be it. Okay. So this would be it to upgrade the camera on the factory screen. But our customer doesn't have the factory screen. He actually installed the Android screen for the MDX. When he installed the Android screen from the MDX, for the MDX, geez, what am I saying? He also needs to. All right, hold on. Let me gather my thoughts because I'm saying this all wrong and I'm going to confuse someone. Okay, let me just close this box. All right. Okay. So if he had the factory radio and the factory screen still installed, this is all he would need. What I showed you, the camera and the harness, to upgrade the camera so that the new camera shows on the factory screen. That's all he would need. But because he upgraded his stereo, he also wants to keep the factory camera lines. So by using this next harness, he's eliminating the need to run any wiring in his car. He's using the existing wiring. Because when you install a back camera in the MDX, is a pain in the ass. Not gonna lie to you, is a pain in the ass to do. So if you can reuse the factory wiring in place, it does save you some time, but you do have to buy another harness. So it's up to you. Because what you could have done is just bought a generic camera and installed it how you would normally to an aftermarket radio by just running the wires. No harness is needed. But that just takes more time and effort, and this customer really does not want to have to run any wires. So he's going to use the next harness, which is a camera retention harness. So the little white plug is a camera upgrade harness. This little green plug is a camera retention harness, at least for his car. And other cars are gray. There are different color ones depending on the car. So we're going to make the retention harness now. I know this may be a little confusing for your first time, but just bear with me here. And then I think once we get to the end, it'll all make sense. All right, let me push this back and let me go grab 2 more parts. Yeah, it's perfectly. That's like that's the nah. I wouldn't say that's the easiest way. That's the most standard, straightforward way. You don't have to spend any extra money. On the TSX, it's kind of easy to run a camera, so I don't think you need this. But on the MDX, it is very annoying. If you're a shop, though, it makes sense to pick up these harnesses and sell them because it saves you so much time. So, like, it's either the customer wants to pay $100 in labor, I can't even talk tonight. Either the customer wants to pay $100 in labor, or the customer wants to pay $100 for extra harnesses. Either way, they're gonna have to pay for something. Like if you're a customer, but if it's you doing it, then I think running the camera makes sense depending on the car. But most usually all sedans are very easy to run the camera. But on the MDX, I'm telling you, because the trunk gate opens up like that is very annoying. So like if you have a TSX wagon, I don't recommend doing it. Just use the harnesses instead. So you don't have to put yourself through that. Ooh, about to use the wrong harness here, buddy. About to use the wrong harness here and be mad at myself once. Okay, I grabbed the wrong RCA. It's super important that you use the right RCA. So this is a female. The other one we use the male because if I don't use the right RCA for your harness, you're gonna end up with 2 ends that don't match up, and you're gonna be pissed off. So I need to make sure that I grabbed the right one. So I'm happy that I realized that I did that. All right, just like we did before, we're gonna add a little bit of solder to the ends. These actually already have solder. Where's my master? Okay. So I just need to strip them back. But this we will add some solder. You can also like use a combination of both. So like you could wiretap in the trunk, but then not wiretap with the camera retention harness. Because in the trunk, I feel like you have enough space and openness to do wiretaps. But like behind the radio, sometimes the harnesses are really tight, and it's just really annoying to try to wiretap. All right, this is ground, so we need to add a little loop. Where's the wires? So yeah, we have a bunch of different ones to do. I don't know if it's a YouTube video or what it is, but every once in a while there's like a cycle of a bunch of camera stuff that gets sold. So like I'll sell minimum camera stuff for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then out of nowhere I'll sell like 7 orders of just camera harnesses. So I don't know if like people talk to each other, like, yeah, we're all gonna order together, or if maybe just YouTube recommends those videos, like that's the time it's recommending those videos, or I don't know, AI, I don't know. It's hard to track that stuff because you ask people where they ordered from, but they don't always share the correct answer. Like they might share the answer that made them buy, but not where they first found out or heard about you. Because usually it takes people like they say cold lead about 10 interactions before they'll buy. So they need to see the product. That's interaction 1. Interaction 2 is they'll read the reviews and then they'll leave. Then they'll go research some more and they'll see your product somewhere else. And then they'll continue researching, and then usually around time 8 or 9 is when they'll be ready to make a decision or purchase something. All right, cool. Those are cold leads, though. People who have never ever heard or seen you before. Oh, I should have cut those wires down. Damn. Yeah, I'm gonna do that because it's gonna look stupid. Yeah, I still have 2 terminals. I need to match the length of these because if one's way longer than the other, it's gonna look really dumb. And that was my mistake when I ordered these. I chose too short a length. So it's really no, like, it's not a big deal if they're shorter or something, but I don't know. I think appearances matter when it comes to harnesses. I think a little bit off looks intentional, but a lot off looks kind of like what's going on. Colors matter too. Like you see the harness here on the table. Look, watch. This plug is white, but this is where a yellow plug connects, and that trips a lot of people if it's white. So it has to be yellow. Even though color it does not matter. Like, yeah, it can mean something, but it does not matter. So that's why we use the yellow ones now. I was using the white ones, but it was tripping people up, and especially in the video since it's yellow. So now what I do is I make it yellow, but it's a little shorter, so then I cut this down so they look somewhat the same length. Just about presentation. Maybe it's just me. Maybe someone installing won't know, won't care. But I care. Oh, wow. Those were terminals for that, and I wasted them. Okay. Some more. All right, cool. Then this one right here. All right, cool. So now we can put our... Oh, what the hell? Can't believe I didn't do that. All right, let's go. Well, we got a lot of people watching, yo. Shout outs to you guys, man. Awesome. Thank you. Even if it's bots. Thank you, bots. All right, so now I'm going to put the pins into the harness. And they should just slide in. I shouldn't have any issues with these. Just got to make sure we hear that little click. And I put it in the wrong spot. Oh, my God, bro. I'm not the brightest sometimes. But luckily, these are pretty easy to unpin. This isn't the OEM connector. Um, the OEM connector, I'll show you, looks a little different. So like, look at this connector and look at this connector. This one's super hard to unpin. It's not the OEM, but it's OEM equivalent. It just comes down to the pricing. These are like $7 each. These are a lot cheaper. So to keep the harness cheaper, you grab the cheaper part. I do have a bunch of. Once I run out of these though, I won't be using them again. I'll go back to this. It's just I have a bunch that I need to use, and they work with no issue. Okay, so this is black. Come on. And this is white. Okay. Nice, good click. Push that in. Then we have white. And then black right there. Come on. Come on. All right, cool. So now our harness is pinned correctly. We need to get one more wire though. One sec. All right, here we go. So then there's this wire here. And then that's it. This will then connect to the navigation drive, use the factory camera wires, and then the last piece of this, because in the MDX, it's behind or underneath the driver's seat, he does have to run some wire. So he'll have to run this wire from here up to behind the screen. But it beats, this is, running this wire probably takes 10 minutes. Running this wire all the way to the back to the camera could easily take 2 hours. So it's just about convenience and time saving. Some customers think it is worth it. Other ones think it's not. They rather just do the work. I think when you're a shop, it makes sense because the more time you can save, the more jobs you can do. So if you can sell the customer accessories that will speed up the job, it will make a better experience for them and allow you to make more money. And why I say it makes a better experience for them is because the install is faster. A lot of people don't like waiting a long time for their car to be done. All right, so that's all set to go. Let's throw it in a box. And we'll ship it out. Let me just verify I didn't get anything wrong. So the backup camera harness, the actual backup camera, and the retention camera. Yep. I think this guy got his order wrong. Hold on one sec. I just... Okay, so if you see this harness right here, this lets you change the camera going to the factory navigation. But usually people don't use it for that. They use it to feed the factory navigation different video. So you can watch videos on your factory navigation screen. Instead of it showing the back camera, it shows whatever you feed through here. In your TL and your RDX, your TL and your RL, this lets you add a camera. In your TSX and your RL, this lets you add a camera when it doesn't have a camera. The customer ordered this, but I'm pretty sure he needed this. I'm going to send both just in case, because I can't message him right now and say, hey, which one did you really mean? And he probably won't know. So I'm going to send both. Then he's going to say, hey, I only needed this one or I only needed that one. And we can set up a return for the one he didn't need. All right, where's my tape? go get some paper. This is not this guy, right? Yes, sir. Oh. All right, nice. This is ready to go. Throw it on our shelf. Now I'm gonna move forward to a harness I know I have in the queue. There's actually two that I have that I know of. So we need to make another one of the exact same harnesses we just made. Um, this for a different customer. This customer ordered a camera, didn't realize he needed this harness, so now he has ordered the harness separately. I hate when that happens to people because I hate to be in the position where it looks like I'm trying to upsell you or it looks like I gotcha. Because like um, we sell just regular cameras for aftermarket radios. So like you can buy just a camera, and people do that all the time, and they install in their aftermarket radio. They'll buy the camera after the fact. We'll get people that just buy the camera. So if you buy just the camera, it doesn't set off any flags in my head or in the system. Like, no, this person's just buying a camera. But sometimes people get tripped up and they buy the camera thinking that it's plug and play into their factory system, and it's not. So then they call back and they're like, hey, I bought this camera, but like, how do I connect it to the factory? And now I'm like, oh, well, if you want to actually install that camera to your factory system, you need another part. And most people don't want to hear that. They don't want to spend more money. They already spent money on something they thought was going to work, even though they're kind of the ones who didn't read carefully or look at it thoroughly to understand. But if this is new to them, I feel like you give people the benefit of the doubt. So some people react like, hey, okay, what's the other part? Can you send me the link? I'll order it. Other people are like, oh, I didn't know that. How was I supposed to know that? Now what do I do? And I'm like, well, you can order the new harness. They're like, no, like I don't want to spend any more money. So I'm like, okay, you can return the camera. And then they're just kind of sour because they don't want to spend more money. And it kind of, for me, it feels like I'm trying to like pull more money out of you, but I'm not. It's just that's how the solution works. So I hate being in that weird territory, but I'm not sure how to make that clear to someone. Like, hey, like this is just a camera. If you want to upgrade with the harness, you need to buy both. I did list the package on the website so that you see it, but because it's more expensive, more people tend to just try to get the camera, or at least I think that's what this customer did. He saw the package that said plug and play camera upgrade, harness and camera, and then he saw the camera and was like, oh, the camera's cheaper. I'm gonna just buy that. That's what I assume happened, but I really don't know. But I need one harness, so I'll be right back. Okay, so then I need one of these. Oh, really? I always hear that stuff used to be a lot simpler back then. Also, I hear a lot from people who build big systems that it wasn't necessarily about power, that you can hit pretty hard SPL without a ton of watts because the equipment was configured differently. What am I forgetting here? Oh, he's gonna need an adapter because since he bought just the camera, it comes with something different. Where are those little wires? That's not what I'm looking for. Here you go. This is what I'm looking for. So the backup camera, when you buy just a backup camera, comes with a specific set of wire to make your installation easier. When you do it with this, it comes with this wire. Um, well, when you order the combo package, like the guy did, it comes with this wire. This normally wouldn't come with this wire, but because he already bought the camera, if he didn't get this wire, he wouldn't be able to complete the install. So we're just going to include it. Oh, actually, I'm going to need to strip more here. All right. And I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's copper wiring. It's good wiring. It's just very thin. But again, it needs to be that way so that it can be terminated properly. So after this, I'm going to jump into a camera retention harness so I can show you what those look like on the newer Acuras. Come on. But I do have more old harnesses to make. Also I have two more of these that we're doing right now to make, and then two retention harnesses to make. But what time is it? Damn, bro, it's 11:40. I told myself I was gonna go to sleep early today. I started streaming on Instagram, but I think I'm gonna drop that. I don't think Instagram's like a learning platform. Usually you go on Instagram to like distract yourself or like read up on stuff, maybe get some news, send funny reels to your friends. Like you're not going on Instagram to try to learn anything. So I don't know. I feel like I'm not making good progress there. Obviously it's not gonna happen overnight, but like people just join and leave. They're not really interested in seeing anything. And they don't have questions either, which is very weird because a lot of people DM me asking questions. But I guess the people DMing don't know we would be live. So I don't know. We'll see. But that's stopped me from streaming on YouTube. And I think YouTube's a better platform to stream on, at least for my audience. Come on. I'm surprised my dogs aren't here bothering me. They just knocked out. Okay, so now we just need to follow this, which puts our grounds far left, our power far right, and then black and yellow, baby. All right, let's push these in now. Black then white. Yeah, black and yellow. Okay. The blacks are always the toughest. Come on. You know what? I'm going to do this first. Hey, let's go. That clicked nicely this time. On the other one, I didn't want to click as nice. Oh, let's go. They all clicked nicely. All right. So now let's test like we tested the other ones. That one in, that one in, that one in, that one in. All right, cool. So now let's add our zip ties. All right, baby. So this one's done. This and this are going together. Let me find a little baggie for it. And I'll use this little baggie right here. And we'll put it in the envelope and get it out to this customer. What was this customer's name? Oh, that's not the right one. Here you go. Factory upgrade. 2009 MDX. Shout out New York, New York, baby. All right, so now got a bunch of 2-item orders. Is this the one I want to do? No, this is one that we already showed you. That one is pretty much the same. Okay, here's one. So it's a 2010 TSX. All right, so let me grab the stuff for that. Do I have any pins here? Are these the right pins? Let's go, baby. Got everything I need right here. All right, YouTube, here goes another clip. Clip it. Clip it right now. All right, let me make sure I'm on the right camera. Make sure I'm focused. All right, so you have a 2009, 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14. You want to keep the factory backup camera of your tech package on your aftermarket radio. This harness I'm about to make is going to allow you to do so. This is going to be specific to a 2010 TSX, but for your 2009 all the way up to your 14 TSX, MDX, TL, they are all extremely similar. This connector does change, the pinout changes, and this connector actually in the TL is different. So there's a 28 pin connector. Your TL 2009 and 10, it's a 32 pin, and then on your TL 2009 to 11 TL, it's a 32 pin. On your 2012 to 14 TL, it's a 36 pin. But right now, Acura TSX 2010, how to keep the factory backup camera of your tech package onto your aftermarket radio. Let's get started. So we need 6 terminals, and then we need 1 piece of heat shrink. The slider is just heating up the heat shrink. All right, so then we're going to terminate these 2 wires. Make sure our pins don't bend and they stay straight, because that's going to be very important later on. And we're going to terminate these wires right here. This is a step down converter, so we're going to take 12 volts, turn it to 8 volts so that the factory camera does not blow up. It is an 8-volt camera. If you send it 12 volts, it may work once or twice, 3 times, but at some point it will fail, and it's because you connected the wrong amount of power to it. So make sure you use the step down converter when retaining it. You can use a 6-volt one, but it works best with 8 volts. 8 volts. Jeez, man, I can't talk at night. Can't talk, period. All right, so now we're going to terminate these wires. There we go. And this one. All right, so with all our pins terminated, we can then start inserting them into the camera connector, which is this right here I'm referring to. So let me just grab the master, because I don't remember off the top of my head where each pin goes. And looking at the diagram is mislabeled. So if you follow the diagram, you're going to make it wrong. A lot of them are mislabeled. I've had to actually verify myself with either customers or by doing the installs myself to verify where the connections go. So here's my master. You see it says the word confirmed, because that means that I know where it's supposed to go. The only thing that's not on here is power, but I know where power and ground are. Power is pin 2. So accessory power is pin 2, so that's pin 1, that's constant. That's accessory. Then ground is pin 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then here I have power and ground. So I'll do my RCA first, which is pin, what is that, 13 and 27. Yep. So that's going to go right here. This is going to go right there, right? Black's on the bottom, red's on the top. And then this is different. This one right here is actually ground, camera power ground, and this is camera power, the actual power line, which is 8 volts, like I mentioned earlier. And now I just need to slide them in. I will double check my work, just because I do make mistakes and I do forget where certain things are. So I want to make sure I didn't mess any of my cars up and get them confused and pin this the wrong way. So we're just going to pull up the actual camera view real quick. TSX 2010. Going to go navigation. And then we're going to go navigation system description. And I'll show it to you real quick. So here's the system description. And if we scroll all the way down, we'll get to the navigation connector, so navigation display connector. And like I said, pin 2 is accessory, that's where red goes. Pin 10 is ground. And then pin 11 is shield. Pin 12 was camera ground, and so on. And then video and VCC. Okay, yep, we're good. Wait, that's 26. That's 26, 27. Yeah, camera ground 28 is adaptive. All right, cool. So I know that what I did is right. I verified it. I'm going to slide it in. Okay. And then we're going to add some zip ties to this. Now, this whole time, you may have been asking yourself, okay, where do you hook up this harness and how do you use it? So we're going to go over that now because this is a very complex thing for a DIYer to do correctly. I feel like if you don't work with Acuras, also, if you don't do a lot of not custom, how do I say? If you don't do a lot of advanced installations, newer cars, a lot of factory integration stuff, you may not be familiar with this. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay. So the first thing is, okay, great. I ordered your backup camera retention. It's not working, or where do I plug it in? So this is going to plug into the navigation screen always. It doesn't plug in behind the radio. Your radio is usually down here. Your navigation screen is up here. It plugs in up here, and you have to snake the wire down. So we're going to take a look at that again on here. So here's a side profile of the navigation screen. This connector, it says navigation display unit connector 28 pin. That's where this will connect into. The connector that used to plug into the screen, since you're removing the screen, is going to plug into here. Then the easiest place to get the reverse trigger, because there's no reverse trigger. So let me just talk about what a reverse trigger is. So, sorry, wrong thing. So now you plug this in. You plug this into your backup camera input in your aftermarket radios, usually yellow or brown. But the backup camera isn't showing up when you're going in reverse. There's no reverse trigger wire or a wire that you would connect to the stereo to tell it when to show the backup camera. Normally, your radio will have a brown, purple, white, orange, white, or pink wire labeled reverse, back, input camera trigger. I'm trying to think what other names they give it. Usually that's it. But that wire needs to get connected to the backup camera. That wire needs to get connected to your tail lights, your reverse lights ultimately. There are different places to get it, but the surefire place to get it in your 2010 TSX is going to be right here. Connector A, 8-pin connector, pin 5. And I'll show you that right now. 8-pin connector, pin 5 is a light blue wire. That's the backlight or reverse signal. So what sucks, though, is that's all the way in the trunk. Do you really want to run a wire all the way to the trunk? Not really. That's why you got this. So in our video, I showed you where to do it at the junction box below the steering wheel, but that's a little advanced for some people. So we're going to see if we can find another place to find that reverse trigger that's easy and accessible. Let me just pull up the diagram of the camera so we can start there. Okay. So here is our ETM for the navigation system. So if we follow this, it'll tell us which pin is what. But hold on, it's really zoomed in, so it's like hard to see for even me. Okay. So we're looking at the navigation system. This has the GPS antenna, climate control unit. Okay, we don't care about that. We're looking for where it gets its reverse signal. Audio unit, steering wheel control, remote ground, steering wheel switch. Okay, we don't care about that right now. Sorry, I'm just making sure I didn't miss anything on this page, guys. One sec, bear with me here. No, that's going to the amplifier, GPS antenna, okay. Climate control unit. We saw this page is a steering wheel control page. ECM, PCM. What is this? VSP. Okay, it might be here. Hot or ACC. No. Here we go. So this is our reverse light circuit. So at the navigation unit, there's one. What's P17? Dashboard wire harness 2230. Okay, we are losing ourselves here because I don't fully understand these pages. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. So we're going to try a different way. So we're going to see view 312, connector, dashboard, multifuse, start or on, left side wire harness, power windows, backup, automatic, and manual. So it looks like pin 6 on this connector would do it. But where the hell is this connector? Connector D on the driver's under dash fuse box. Okay. Can we get a diagram of that? Oh, sorry. Okay. So this thing has it, but which one of these is connector D is my question. And bear with me, we'll see if we can find it. Okay. This brings us back to the same view. Will it bring us back to the same photo? It does, okay. Where's this connector? This is in the trunk already. Okay, so this connector also has a backup camera signal, but that's all the way in the trunk. We don't want to go that far. This is where I showed you the driver junction box. That's that thing back there that I showed in the video. Can you see it correctly? Oh, it's a little too zoomed in. Sorry. Okay. So, hold on. Let me just shrink this down and move it so I can make sure that you can see. Yeah, okay. So that's the junction box back there that I showed in the video. And let me get that. Actually, let me bring this down so you can see all of it. There you go. So that's the driver's junction box. That's what I showed in the video to tap. But that one's a little bit tricky for people as well. So where is there another place to do it? If you have navigation, connector C51, where is that? Let's take out a photo there. Okay, so you can tap it over here as well. That is C, what did it say? C651 it was? Yeah, okay. All right, let's keep looking because we want to know where in the fuse box we can do it. D6, not used. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to find it, guys. We're going to have to find a fuse box and look at where this connector is. Uh, let's see if we Google a 2010 Acura TSX fuse box diagram. But I think this is going to give us what fuse is what. Yeah, that's not how I want. I want to see that connector. See you tomorrow, Spark. Sorry that I'm on the hunt for this, but this is valuable information that people look for, man, is where can they find this reverse signal without going to the trunk, which is definitely there, but where is connector view 312 driver dash fuse? Let's see if we put this into here. Sorry, I zoomed this way out. Can't even see. I need to make my window bigger here. Yeah, they all show the same picture. What about this? That's the junction box. We already talked about that. All right, let's zoom out again because it got way too big. A bunch of junction boxes. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna find what we're looking for, guys. We need an actual fuse box in front of us so we can find. Oh wait, yeah, because this index doesn't tell me. Yeah, there's no pictures or anything. It just tells me where it connects to. I need a picture. All right, hold on. Let's see if we go on Pro Demand. If we log in, if we look at fuse boxes. So 2010 Acura TSX fuse box. Sorry, you guys can't see. Let me drag that window down. Okay, here we go. Fuse box. Automatic. Component connectors. Those are junction boxes connectors. These are the connectors that we want. But it doesn't. I would want a picture of the fuse box with each connector labeled. That's what I want. I want to see the actual physical fuse box with each connector. Yeah, no. Oh wait, there's a figure here. These are relays, ignition, main relay, start cut relay. No. Component operation. No. Uh, Wiring diagrams. Yeah, but if I click on one of these, it doesn't tell me. Yeah. All right, YouTube. I'm not gonna keep on the hunt for that. I will tell you that I do have this car outside, and I will look for myself for that connector, and I'll film it and I'll put it on YouTube to help you guys for the TSX. It's there. We saw which pin it is. We just don't know exactly where the connector is. But we put this bag in its back. Put this back in its bag. And then put some stuff away. Clean up our workspace. Oh, I need to grab a climate conversion harness. Ship this guy's order. Where are they? Okay, cool. All right, so I've talked about this before. Maybe not on stream in a while. This is the climate conversion harness. This is what lets you keep the factory keep the factory climate control information data on a new display, on a non-navigation display. That's what this is for. You connect this below the radio and run it up to the screen. So we have a video on how to use it. I recommend just watching that video because this one's this one's tricky to explain. So just watch the video if you have a TSX or a TL. Installation video show you what it does. All right, guys, these are the two harnesses that this customer ordered. So let's get his order shipped out. 2010 TSX, yep. Just making sure it was the right car. We didn't make the wrong harness. And then tomorrow I'll look at the car and see where that connector is. The thing that's annoying that might not make that connector any better choice is that it's going to be behind the fuse box and not in front of it. So if it's behind the fuse box, it's super annoying to reach those. You have to like take the fuse box off, take it off. Like if you loosen some bolts, you'll leave it connected, but then you'll be able to maneuver it. So we'll see. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully it's one of the connectors right in the front, and you can just temporarily disconnect it, do your wire tap, and then connect it again. All right, YouTube, that's going to wrap up my stream for tonight. I'm going to bed early. I need to get some sleep. I'm feeling the effects. I'm sure you can tell it too. I'm like saying the wrong words, slurring my speech. I'm not drunk or anything, just tired. Um, I don't really drink much. Okay. Yep, yep, yep. Ship this. All right, cool. All right, guys. If you have any questions, I'll see you tomorrow during the lunch stream. I'm gonna aim for 1 o'clock. So I'll see you guys then. Have a good night. Get some good sleep. Have a great day tomorrow, and then I'll see you tomorrow for lunch.